Welcome to the House of Astery, the most ruthless magical dynasty in the Empire. Here, power is absolute. The Emperor is just a plaything, and any blood relative born without magical talent is cast out like garbage. Deep within the mansion, whispers spread like wildfire. The eldest young master has suffered his third mana shock, failing to awaken yet again. Rumors say this latest failure has driven the boy completely insane. A month ago, the bedridden heir suddenly woke up, muttering gibberish before sprinting straight out of the mansion. He threw himself into the mud, digging frantically with his bare hands until they bled. But he wasn't looking for a legendary weapon. In his bloodied palms, the heir held up a common weed, cackling like a maniac. The servants could only watch in absolute horror, convinced their young master was completely broken. For an entire month, the routine never changed. Day in and day out, our boy does nothing but pull weeds in the garden, building a massive pile of medicinal herbs as if his life depended on it. He knows the family guards are watching his every move. To them, he is Lion Astery, the useless heir. But in reality, he is Baek Eon, a former Korean salaryman reincarnated into this brutal fantasy world. See, in his past life, Iheon was an overworked corporate slave who finally snapped and drop-kicked his abusive boss. With nothing but time on his hands, he logged into his favorite old game, only to find his characters deleted. Undeterred, he rolled a fresh account, hitting a jackpot of top-tier crafting skills. He was ready to chill out with a peaceful herbivore build. But before he could even start, everything went black. Waking up in this new body, our boy realizes he's trapped 50 years after the game's final chapter. Thankfully, the original memories remain, helping him adjust to this brutal reality. As he gathers herbs, the system reveals a shilling shop that could be his ticket out of here. If he keeps farming, he might secure his freedom sooner than expected. But escaping this massive family won't be easy for a thrice-failed heir. Survival means finding a way to buy time inside this nest of monsters. His plan? Bribe the head of the family with something so valuable they can't cast him out. But to do that, he needs to raise his stats fast. Just then, a rare blue glow catches his eye. Diving into the brush, he pulls out a high-grade herb, instantly scoring another achievement. He celebrates the 3-star find, completely lost in his own world. But his victory is cut short by a cold voice from behind. The family's high-level aide, Sylvia, suddenly appears. She stares down at him, questioning why the heir is so obsessed with pulling weeds. Trying to explain, he holds up the plant and asks if she can see the bright light. But her blank stare confirms it. Only he can see the game's system effects. Knowing the servants already think he's lost his mind, our boy plays it off. He must keep his special abilities hidden at all costs. That's when Sylvia drops a bomb. The ruthless head of the family has noticed his awakening and is demanding to see him immediately. This is worst-case scenario. The family patriarch, Patrick Astery, runs an absolute meritocracy where the weak are discarded. Meeting him now without a plan is suicide. Thinking fast, Lion decides to stall. He asks Sylvia to delay the meeting, flashing a sharp smile as he prepares his next move. Inside the grand office, the patriarch Patrick Astery receives the latest intelligence on his grandson. The report is grim. Lion is still powerless, unable to sense mana, and spends all his time pulling common garden weeds. Disappointed, Patrick dismisses his informant and summons his top aide, Sylvia, hoping for better news. But the shadow assassin only confirms the rumors, revealing the boy has been weeding the grounds without pause. When Sylvia delivers Lion's message that he will visit later, Patrick's temper flares. The sheer audacity of a powerless heir, delaying a meeting with the head of the house, is a direct challenge to his absolute authority. He erupts in a fit of fiery rage, demanding Lion show up immediately or face the entire forest being reduced to ash. Sylvia vanishes into the shadows to deliver the warning, leaving her master seething. But as soon as she leaves, Patrick's tough exterior crumbles. Peering through a scrying orb, the ruthless patriarch blushes in secret frustration, wishing his grandson would just run into his arms instead of obsessing over weeds. Surrounded by a massive array of high-grade artifacts, Lion is stunned to find his grandfather spared absolutely no expense. For a guy who just wanted to dabble, this is a premium setup, proving that rich kids truly live in a different world. To test his theory, our boy pulls up the system interface to analyze his skills. If potion-making functions like gathering, it should have a repetitive grind system progressing from apprentice up to the elite grandmaster tier. He gets straight to work, tossing herbs into the massive cauldron and stirring the mixture. Activating his extraction skill, a bright magical light erupts as he commands the energy to refine the materials. The glowing liquid streams flawlessly into the glass bottle, completing his first low-grade health potion. He chugs the brew immediately, confirming that high-quality gear makes all the difference as his health shoots up to 80%. The system registers his progress, revealing a 100-potion milestone to complete the achievement. Grinning like a madman, Lion slams the empty bottle down and prepares to launch an absolute speedrun of his craft. The grind becomes pure torture as he forces down potion after potion despite already being at full health. Slouched in his chair and burning out fast, he desperately gulps down one last agonizing sip. Success finally rings out, rewarding him with shillings, elevating his alchemy level, and unlocking a brand new recipe. Fired up by the notification, he checks the details and gears up for the next stage. Tossing more ingredients into the pot, Lion reflects on his time gathering herbs, determined to execute his master plan for a comfortable life. Lion begins brewing a new concoction, trying to figure out the perfect gift for his grandfather. Since the old man has plenty of mana and personal healers, our boy decides to target his mental fatigue from non-stop work. Determined to succeed, our boy gets to work. He stirs the glowing blue liquid, preparing to brew what was considered a junk-tier potion in the original game but feels entirely different in reality. Lion sets up his high-grade extraction gear, placing his hands on the apparatus to channel his power for the final refinement. Activating his extraction skill, a massive surge of magic triggers a vivid rush of happy memories from his past life, indicating the potion's unique effects are taking hold. Against all odds, the system reveals he crafted a 2-star mental fatigue recovery potion. Just smelling it clears his head, proving his high-grade gear allowed him to bypass his current alchemy level entirely. Suddenly, a massive magical phenomenon triggers around him. The system announces that a mana circle is finally forming, unlocking his unique talent for precise mana control. Feeling the magical energy course through his veins, our boy realizes he finally has mana. Overwhelmed with joy, he erupts into a fit of wild, triumphant laughter. But his loud celebration doesn't go unnoticed. Outside the laboratory doors, a silent observer catches him in the act before turning around and walking away down the corridor. Unaware of the watcher, Lion relaxes in his chair, confident that his dream of a comfortable life is finally within reach now that he has both money and mana. But his celebration is cut short as a sudden realization hits him. In all the excitement, he completely forgot about the primary target of his potion, his grandfather. Meanwhile, his grandfather fumes with rage, waiting impatiently for Lion to finally arrive. In the study, the head of the Astri family, Patrick, is losing his patience waiting for Lion. Patrick is a legendary hero who fought dragons and rules the family, and he cannot comprehend why his frail grandson is wasting away making potions. While Patrick fumes about their family's absolute wealth and power, the nanny Sylvia tries to soothe his anger. She remembers seeing the young master completely overjoyed while brewing, realizing it is the one thing that brings him comfort. But joy will not save a dying boy. Patrick reminds her that Lion has already suffered 3 life-threatening mana shocks, and expecting him to survive another miracle is pure foolishness. All they want now is for him to live. Right then, the frail heir himself finally arrives at the study door. Escorted by a guard, the 9-year-old menace steps into the lion's den with a calm, sweating smile, ready to face his grandfather's interrogation. Standing before the legendary mage's desk, our boy apologizes for the delay. Patrick wastes no time demanding to know why it took him so long to show his face after recovering from his latest near-death experience. Lion openly admits the truth. He has absolutely no talent for magic and finally accepts that his body cannot handle mana. It is a harsh reality that usually strips any heir of their standing in the proud Astery house. But instead of despair, the boy presents a glowing blue potion. This elixir is the ultimate proof of his new path, a way to prove his worth without ever needing to cast a single spell. He offers it as a gift to ease the old man's lifelong fatigue. Instantly, Patrick's sharp eyes lock onto his grandson, sensing a fundamental, overwhelming shift in the boy's posture and confidence that defies all logic. Looking down at the glowing blue liquid, the legendary hero realizes the truth. The frail young master risked his own life through multiple mana shocks just to brew this cure for him. Patrick tries to act tough, claiming his transcendent body is immune to any normal medicine. But when our boy says he brewed this purely out of love for his grandfather, the old warrior's icy exterior completely melts. To hide his sudden soft spot, the family head maintains a stern facade and dismisses the kid. Lion bows politely, completely unaware that his simple gift has shaken the legendary dragon slayer to his core. Once the room is clear, Sylvia calls out her master for secretly grinning like a proud parent. Patrick quickly denies it, but his eyes remain locked on the mysterious blue liquid. As the old man holds the glowing elixir, they realize it has no scent of mana whatsoever. Sylvia offers to analyze it using her shadow powers, but Patrick refuses, wanting to trust his grandson's heart. Accepting the order, the elite maid dissolves directly into the shadows, leaving the aging patriarch completely alone to inspect his grandson's creation. Admiring the flawless craftsmanship, Patrick admits that this level of alchemy takes years of dedication. Convinced it won't affect his monstrously powerful body, he decides to take a quick sip anyway. But the moment the liquid hits his throat, an overwhelming wave of peace washes over him. The battle-hardened warrior is suddenly enveloped in a soothing warmth, his mind growing completely calm. As fragments of forgotten memories drift by, the legendary dragon slayer drifts into a deep, restorative sleep that he has not experienced in decades. Opening his eyes, the old general is shocked to discover that his chronic, unbearable headaches have completely vanished into thin air. Staring at the empty bottle, the patriarch realizes his grandson's talent is too massive to hide. If the boy is determined to walk this path, then he will do whatever it takes to protect him from mana shocks. Back with our boy, Lion suddenly gets a massive chill down his spine, completely unaware of the chaos brewing in the mansion's courtyard. Rumors are spreading like wildfire among the servants, who falsely gossip that the young master is on his deathbed and was weeding the gardens just to find a place to bury himself. But their mocking laughter is instantly cut short when the loyal maid Hannah catches them red-handed, sending the gossiping cowards scrambling back to work. Hannah is furious, venting that the ungrateful attendants are abandoning the young master over these ridiculous rumors despite all the kindness he has shown them. Suddenly, a terrifying presence looms right behind her. The head steward Sylvia appears with a chilling smile, demanding to know every single detail about these rumors. Inside the Duke's study, the household's head meets with his sister Hannah. She arrives early, prompting him to ask what urgent business brought her to his office. She presents the glowing blue potion, urging the veteran mage to inspect it, using his legendary witch's eye to uncover its secrets. One look shocks him. This potion is far too advanced for their frail young master to brew, leading Hannah to suspect it is actually the legendary hero's potion. See, 50 years ago, a mythical warrior ended the brutal war against the demon race before vanishing into thin air, leaving behind power even the gods feared. For a witch bound by ancient constraints, finding the secret contract hidden in the family's labyrinth represents her only shot at true freedom. But the old man refuses to jump to conclusions, pointing out that a real hero's potion would possess far greater power, meaning their boy, Lion, cannot possibly be the legendary warrior. Still, the grandfather, resolves to ask the young master for a stronger version, hoping it might finally cure the sister who has survived for centuries in a weakened state. The room fills with laughter as the two old legends share a moment of dark humor, though the underlying tension remains thick. The elder sister mocks his concern, reminding him that witches possess immense lifespan and magical power, so there is no need to burden their grandchild before she makes her exit. Elsewhere in the mansion, our boy Lion strolls in, immediately noticing the heavy worry lines etched across his grandfather's face. After teasing the old man about his age, the young general strikes a nerve when he asks if the potion he gifted is the source of all the stress. The veteran duke gets straight to the point, asking if our boy can brew a potion of even higher quality. But Lion immediately hits a wall, realizing that finding high-tier herbs, let alone crafting a 2-star potion, is nearly impossible right now. Still, the little general knows he can't let this massive opportunity slip. With the head of the family finally showing interest, he agrees to the challenge before asking what the potion will be used for. The Duke casually mentions, "It's a gift for the head maid." The news completely short-circuits the kid's brain, leaving him convinced that his grandfather is desperately trying to woo the household staff to cure his loneliness. Hoping to lock in his sponsor's favor, Lion impulsively promises to deliver the potion in 2 weeks, before immediately cutting the deadline down to a single week and sprinting out of the room. Leaving his grandfather completely stunned, the young master faces a harsh reality. He doesn't have the time to level up his crafting skills, nor can he properly handle high-grade materials yet. Desperate for a shortcut, Lion pulls up his system shop. But the interface is a total scam, locking previews behind 100,000 shillings and charging ridiculous prices for basic tools. With even simple magic seasoning costing a fortune, the system shop is useless. Lil Bro accepts that he has to do things the hard way, which means securing a top-tier harvesting tool. Lion heads straight to the local forge, where a master dwarf is busy shaping metal. The assistant calls the smith out, promising a big spender, and the craftsman steps out to meet his new client. The little general catches the master smith completely off guard, asking to work at the forge. The dwarven craftsman stares in utter disbelief at the ridiculously rich young master standing before him. Before the stunned dwarf can even process the absurd request, Lion clarifies he isn't asking for a handout, slamming down a massive sack overflowing with gold coins to secure his spot. Determined to cultivate a peaceful life, Lion sets out to forge his own top-tier farming tools. He approaches the local smithy, offering a bag of gold to buy his way inside. The dwarf blacksmith Mudu initially scoffs at playing along with a noble's little game. However, a pouch overflowing with pure gold quickly changes the room's energy, silencing all objections. Mudu sizes up our boy, questioning if a fragile, bookish noble like Lion actually has what it takes to swing a hammer in a hot forge. See, dwarves are the ultimate craftsmen, immune to the intense heat of fire and possessing unmatched strength. Yet even they struggle when the forge itself loses its spark. Intrigued by the sudden visitor, Mudu demands to know the young master's identity. The moment Lion reveals his name, the blacksmith recognizes him as the legendary nutcase of the Astri family. Instead of turning him away, the dwarf boss points Lion toward the fire, assigning his assistant to help the strange young master start his work. The assistant's son guides our boy inside to show him around. Lion looks at the setup, realizing he is dealing with a legendary line of dwarven craftsmen. Though the workshop utilizes top-tier equipment and precise crafting processes, Lion immediately senses something is off. The quality of the finished tools is far too low for master craftsmen. A sudden flicker in the furnace catches Lion's attention. Right before him, a weakened fire spirit appears, exposing the true reason behind the workshop's declining quality. Lion points out the dying furnace heat, leaving the assistant stunned by how a supposed non-mage could detect the shift. Even Mudu demands to know how he figured it out. Lion casually claims the fire itself spoke to him. The revelation sends a shockwave of disbelief straight to the old dwarf, who instantly halts the young master's requests. Realizing this is no ordinary pampered noble, Mudu clears the workshop. The master blacksmith prepares to face Lion alone to uncover his true identity. The dwarf master demands to know if Lion truly saw the hidden problem. Our boy calmly confirms it, leaving the blacks wondering if this supposed weakling can actually save his failing forge. Desperate to save his life's work, Mudu raises the stakes. He promises to teach Lion the secrets of dwarven smithing and prioritize all his future orders if the young master resolves the crisis. Lion realizes priority ordering rights from the estate's top smithy are a massive win. With a confident smirk, our boy officially accepts the challenge and prepares to investigate the fading fire. Mudu admits the shop has been suffering ever since the fire spirit began losing strength. But when Lion casually reveals the entity is just extremely thirsty, the dwarf is left completely baffled. The old blacksmith suggests pouring water on the fire, forcing Lion to call out the absolute madness. Seeking a real reward, our boy demands one of the master's personal creations. Mudu agrees to the terms, sealing the deal with a firm handshake. As night falls over the estate, the young master gets straight to work on his custom recipe. Working late into the night, Lion views the game system notifications, warning him of the spirit's critical state. The massive scale of the forge has pushed the entity to its absolute limit. To restore the spirit's vitality, Lion prepares to brew aqua rosemary oil. He processes the herb into a specialized fluid that the elemental can easily consume. Lion pours the custom oil directly into the flames, providing instant relief. After brewing a few more batches, the low-ranking spirit is fully satisfied, restoring the furnace to its former glory. As the spirit expresses its gratitude, Lion's rapport talent surges by 30%. Mudu burst back into the room, utterly shocked to see his dying furnace roaring with life once more. But the victory takes a brutal toll. Pushing his fragile body to the limit, All Night triggers a sudden nosebleed and our boy sways before collapsing hard onto the stone floor. The panicked dwarf master can only scream in horror as his savior passes out cold. Inside a quiet cottage, our boy Lion Atsteri is cornered by two energetic kids. He attempts to play along with their playful aliases to keep his cover, but the peaceful atmosphere masks the heavy burden of the life he's desperately trying to escape. Seeing the tight bond between these siblings triggers a memory of Lion's own prickly younger brother. With the family successor position hanging over him like a death sentence, our boy decides that avoiding his kin is the only tactical move to survive. Before he can dwell on the past, their mother interrupts to scold the children for disrupting the guests' meal. Lion dismisses the concern and introduces himself, choosing to keep his status low profile in this unfamiliar territory to avoid drawing unwanted attention. The kids run off giggling, and their mother, Leah, bows in apology. But the young master waves it away. He needs local allies, not subservience, and praises the warm household and the meal to build solid rapport with his hosts. Leah sighs in relief, admitting her shock when her husband dragged Lion here this morning. She remains deeply indebted to him for solving their family's crisis, even though saving the spirit pushed our boy's frail body to its absolute limits. The heavy door swings open, and the massive dwarven descendant Mudu stomps inside. He lifts his kids with ease before locking eyes with the young master. The recovery phase is officially over, and it's time to face the heat of the forge. Stepping into the workshop, Lion faces a display of specialized smithing tools. Mudu shows off a custom commission board, promising that any gear the young master requests will be prioritized over all other clients to ensure his safety. But the real shocker is the massive stack of refined dwarven iron waiting for them. Lion realizes he can't just fake his way through this lesson. The master smith expects absolute dedication, and there are no shortcuts to mastering this dangerous craft. The forge roars to life as Mudu pulls a glowing block of metal from the flames. With a devastating, precise strike of his hammer, he demonstrates the perfect control of power required to thin the blade while keeping the core indestructible. The Dwarven Master demonstrates the final crucial steps, honing the glowing edge on a whetstone and locking the wooden handle into place. The result is a perfect completed hoe, but our boy isn't just here to watch. Determined to learn the craft through sheer repetition, Lion grabs a massive stack of iron bars and dumps them straight into the furnace, leaving the mastersmith utterly speechless at his reckless enthusiasm. But enthusiasm doesn't equal skill. His first strike is a disaster, reducing the refined metal to an irreparable lump of slag. Yet, despite his body screaming in exhaustion, our boy refuses to stop. Time after time, the hammer falls as he works alongside the fire spirit. His persistence pays off when a system alert triggers, unlocking the apprentice blacksmith talent on the spot. Seeing the sudden shift in the young master's technique, Mudu rushes over in disbelief. The raw potential radiating from the boy's movements is unlike anything the veteran smith expected. Channeling his newly awakened talent, our boy hammers down the metal and fits the handle. The finished hoe glows with the power of the fire spirit, achieving a perfect 100% completion rate. Instead of resting, Lion immediately demands to learn the sickle next. The master smith is left dazed by this insane drive, but quickly bursts into laughter, agreeing to teach the boy everything he knows. Out in the dark forest, the young master puts his new tool to the test, effortlessly harvesting rare finger ginseng. With his gathering efficiency skyrocketing, crafting a high-grade 3-star potion is finally within reach. To build his proficiency, our boy keeps harvesting until he uncovers wild sweet potato shoots hidden in the dirt. But when he strikes the soil, the spirit-infused hoe ignites, instantly baking the crop into a perfectly roasted sweet potato. Having unlocked the blessing of the fire spirit, Lion examines his prize, a perfectly roasted sweet potato created with a single swing of his hoe. Unable to resist the steam, our boy takes a massive bite. It is scalding hot, but the nutty flavor is too good to stop. The young master devours the golden crop, savoring the instant burst of energy. Suddenly, a plump white bird descends from the canopy. Realizing it wants a share, Lion tosses a piece of the roasted potato, immediately winning over his feathered spectator. With the creature chirping happily on his shoulder, our boy prepares to gather the final ingredients needed to brew his healing potions. Back at the estate garden, the staff are frantic. Rumors are spreading that the weak eldest master might be cast out or worse, but their anxiety evaporates when Lion suddenly walks through the gates, waving casually. The headmaid and the servant stare in disbelief at the strange bird resting on his shoulder. Rather than explaining, the young master casually asks if his grandfather sent them to stop him. Calling his grandfather uncool, Lion reveals that he has successfully secured all the necessary potion ingredients, leaving the headmaid completely stunned as he dashes past her to begin the brewing process. While his loyal servant pleads with him to treat his minor scrapes, the determined young general runs ahead, focused entirely on his master plan to live a peaceful, healed life. Seeing the young master charge off to brew, the headmaid Sylvia is struck by disbelief. She remembers how fragile the boy was, coughing up blood with no hope of survival. Yet now the young general is moving with impossible energy. A few days later inside the mansion, Sylvia presents a glowing potion to Duke Patrick. The remedy worked instantly, clearing her clouded mind and proving the young master's brewing skills are nothing short of miraculous. Patrick denies assisting the boy, leaving them with a terrifying realization. If the frail heir brewed a potion of this caliber entirely on his own, it means he has created a mythical hero's potion. A hero's potion means a legend is born, but in this world, heroes are merely tools. They fight brutal wars only to vanish without a trace once peace is won, leaving their loved ones behind with nothing. Patrick refuses to lose his grandson to such a tragic fate. He already lost a comrade on the battlefield and will not let destiny take his family. Hearing this, a decisive plan forms in Sylvia's mind. Sylvia declares her retirement to shield the boy, prompting Patrick to slam the table in outrage. He urges her to seek freedom instead of staying bound to the family, but the witch refuses to run. Unleashing her dark mana, the aging headmaid invokes the ancient contract binding her to the estate. In a flash of dark energy, she reverts to a stunning red-eyed young woman, ready to protect her young master. With a legendary protector now watching our boy's back from the shadows, the stage is set for a massive shift in the mansion's power balance. Meanwhile, Lion's younger brother Rixel questions the sudden appointment of the new maid. Inside the Astery mansion, suspicion takes root. Rixel, the second son and a genius four-circle mage, catches wind of a new personal maid assigned to his brother. The sudden retirement of the former maid over a single potion makes no sense. A flashback to the previous night reveals the retiring maid confirming her departure. She credits the eldest young master, Lion, with a life-changing potion, but Rixel refuses to believe his supposedly useless brother is capable of such magic. The maid urges the young prodigy to watch his brother closely, reminding him of their childhood bond. Desperate for answers, the second son decides to investigate the truth behind this sudden change. Rixel throws on his cloak and heads straight to Mimir Forest. Trudging through the eerie, overgrown woods, he suddenly hears a rustle ahead. He stops in his tracks as a shadow comes into view. It is Lion, kneeling on the ground and about to stuff a glowing, dirt-covered object down his throat. Panicking at the sight, Rixel draws his wand and unleashes a magic blast to destroy the filthy item. The blast shatters the snack, leaving the eldest young master in absolute despair over his ruined sweet potato. He whips around in a fury, completely catching Rixel off guard before he can slip away undetected. A hilarious confrontation erupts. Rixel tries to justify his magical intervention by calling the dirt filthy, but the elder brother bluntly explains that potatoes grow in the ground, leaving the genius mage utterly dumbfounded. The genius mage is completely dumbfounded. Having lived a life of luxury, the second son of Astery has never even heard of a sweet potato, let alone tasted one. Deciding to show him what he's been missing, the elder brother sends the prodigy to work. For the first time in his life, this high-tier mage uses his fire magic to light a simple campfire. When Lion returns with a fresh harvest and tosses them directly into the flames, Rixel panics. He expects the food to burn to ash, but the master of healing knows exactly what he is doing. As they wait in the chilly night forest, a rare moment of peace settles between the siblings. Lion urges his younger brother to rest, reminding him that constantly running will only lead to burnout. The moment of truth arrives. Peeling back the charred skin, the young prodigy takes his very first bite. The sweet, warm flavor instantly shatters his defenses, leaving him completely hooked. Losing all self-control, the serious young mage devours potato after potato. He only snaps out of it when he notices the massive pile of empty skins accumulating at his feet. But the atmosphere shifts to a more serious note. Lion acknowledges the heavy burden Rixel carries for the family, assuring his little brother that he never viewed his own illness as a hardship. Overwhelmed by the warmth, Rixel admits his own vulnerability, confessing his jealousy of his brother's freedom. In this quiet forest, the divisions between the useless heir and the genius prodigy begins to melt away. Lion draws his stressed little brother close, telling the prodigy to drop his heavy burdens and live freely. The gesture breaks Rixel's cold defense, forcing the genius to finally accept the comforting warmth. Staring up at the quiet night sky, Rixel remembers the old maid's warning. As the siblings sit side by the fire, the young mage finally feels at peace, glad he tracked his brother down. Sitting back in his chambers, our boy pulls up his system screen to find his coffers, overflowing with 71,000 shillings. After all the grueling work crafting medicine for Sylvia, his level is up, and he can finally breathe easy. A knock at the door disrupts his peace as a new maid named Elbia introduces herself. But as she bows, a sudden chill of discomfort washes over Lion, warning him that this new servant is hiding something underneath her polite exterior. Lion keeps it cool, thanking Elbia and mentioning how she helped him get closer to his sibling. The comment hits a nerve, leaving the new servant dead silent as she stares at him in surprise. When she claims she doesn't understand, Our boy simply laughs it off and rushes out. He has got a date with Rixel, and he is not about to let his mysterious new maid slow him down. Out in the city, the reality of Lion's frail body hits like a freight train. Despite climbing mountains daily, his stamina remains absolute garbage, leaving him wondering if this is the lingering curse of a brutal mana shock. Dragging his feet through the streets, he realizes he desperately needs a priest's examination before the upcoming ceremony. But since mages and the temple do not get along, Rixel suggests they secretly gain access by volunteering. To avoid drawing unwanted attention as noble children, Rixel leads the way to grab a disguise. Instead of a typical clothing store, he takes the young master straight to a shady magic tool shop. They step into a hidden shop filled with bizarre relics and tools only known to black market insiders. Lion instantly gets suspicious, asking if they are about to buy highly illegal gear, but Rixel just brushes it off. Browsing the shelves, our boy finds a bizarre selection of magic items that seem tailored specifically for kids. From single-use hearing enhancers to foolproof cheating pens, this place is packed with weird, low-tier magical tools. Rixel defends the shady shop's bizarre inventory as the eccentric merchant welcomes them, showing off weird magical items that range from automatic hair washers to nose-clearing potions. Tired of the sales pitch, the older brother cuts straight to the chase and asks for disguise gear, prompting the store owner to guide them deeper into the shop. The merchant reveals their secret inventory, showcasing cheap gadgets like hide-in-souls, before pointing out the high-end items that can completely alter a person's physical appearance. Our boy locks his eyes on a premium golden hairpin named My Perfect Little Darling, a device that can change their hair and eye colors for 10 hours straight. While checking their purchase outside, the little general spots an artisan repair kit slipped into the bag as a freebie, realizing it is far more valuable than their actual purchase. After gifting the repair tool to his brother, the duo ducks into a quiet alley and activates the hairpin, instantly wrapping themselves in a magical blue light that alters their faces. To maintain their cover as commoners, the disguised pair heads out to a local flour mill, pretending to inspect donation goods under the guise of charity work. Their real target is the mill owner, Nicholas. As a devout donor with deep connections, he is their best shot at securing a meeting with a high-ranking temple priest. The merchant praises the high-quality wheat they provided, but questions why two average-looking youths would suddenly need such a massive shipment of freshly ground flour. Rixel explains that the food is intended for starving children and asks for a recommendation on where to send it. Silently praying, the merchant suggests the temple. Nicholas takes the bait, suggesting they donate to the orphanage under the temple's care. Our boy plays it cool, asking about the kids while the merchant explains that the Astery family's dominance in magic has left the temple starving for funds. The merchant eyes the duo closely, sizing up their fine clothes despite their plain faces. He hopes making a connection with these wealthy runaways will finally bring some relief to the suffering children. Recognizing the tactical opening, the older brother steps up with a new proposal. Instead of sending raw ingredients, they will bake fresh bread themselves, securing a direct invitation straight into the temple's sanctuary. Determined to help the orphanage, Lion Astery suggests a hands-on solution. Instead of just delivering raw ingredients, they will bake fresh bread so the children can eat immediately. The younger brother is hit with a wave of self-realization, admiring the young master's foresight. With the baker fully on board, the plan is set into motion. They arrive at the bakery, ready to transform basic ingredients into a feast. Step 1. Inspecting the supplies. Our boy spots high-grade whole wheat flour and premium 2-star olive oil, guaranteeing a top-tier result from the start. The veteran baker takes the lead, detailing a straightforward flour bread recipe. He mixes the flour with salt, yeast, and milk, coats the bowl in oil, and lets the dough rise. Next comes the mixing of sunflower seeds. While the younger brother finds the process incredibly simple compared to complex magic, he quickly shapes his own loaf. Meanwhile, the young master is deep in his own zone, claiming he needs a bit more time. The baker puts the younger brother's dough into the oven first, keeping a close eye on the heat. Disaster strikes. The younger brother used too much dough, leaving behind nothing but a scorched, smoking lump of ash. But there's no time to mourn the burnt loaf. The baker opens the oven to check on Lion's batch, and is instantly blinded by a radiant golden light. A game system prompt confirms a flawless success, the Astery-style whole wheat bread. The baker stares in absolute shock at the perfectly golden loaves. Demanding to know his secret, the baker is left speechless, when Lion casually explains he just wanted the bread to look pretty for the kids. Recognizing the pure intentions of the two noble brothers, the veteran baker realizes this isn't some rich kid's game. Packing up his gear, he decides he has to head out immediately. Nicholas dashes out on an urgent errand, leaving the young masters in charge of the bakery. Lion and his brother are left to keep the ovens warm on their own. Left to their own devices, the siblings turn the kitchen into a high-efficiency production line. With every loaf they pull from the oven, our boy's baking progression system skyrockets, bringing him closer to completing his hidden achievement. But the quiet doesn't last. The baker returns, and he hasn't come empty-handed. Moved by the young master's kindness, he has mobilized half the neighborhood, rally-pointing a massive crew of locals carrying supplies to back their cause. Among the arrivals is a woman from the forge, dropping a heavy chest loaded with fresh supplies. The sheer volume of donations starts stacking up, turning a simple baking session into a full-scale charity operation. Then comes the muscle. A legendary local farm woman drops a massive sack of potatoes single-handedly, leaving the crowd in absolute awe of her insane strength. Rumor has it she even took down a bear in her prime. Watching the community unite, the younger brother is hit with a wave of shame. He was only looking for tactical leverage with the church, but Lion's sincere effort changed everything, proving the weak heir is destined for greatness. Hours later, the supply caravan arrives at the Astery orphanage. The head sister is brought to tears by the massive delivery of food and clothes, begging the young masters to hand out the fresh bread themselves. The brothers happily oblige, handing out the warm loaves to the ecstatic children. What started as a tactical move has transformed into a massive victory for the territory's poorest citizens. But the heartwarming moment is suddenly cut short. A sharp sound of disapproval catches Lion's attention, and he spots a lone boy watching them from the shadows with clear hostility. As the hostile kid bolts, the young master turns to the director demanding answers. She reveals his name is Peter, quickly apologizing for the boy's defensive attitude toward their charity. She explains that some orphans still don't know how to accept kindness. But as Peter vanishes into the distance, Lion stays silent, sensing there's a deeper reason behind the kid's anger. Lion Astery finishes feeding the other orphanage kids, but notices one boy, Peter, sitting isolated under a tree. Our boy learns that Peter's adoptions fell through 3 times, leaving him closed off and refusing to eat anything. The young master approaches the silent kid, sitting right beside him to offer a fresh share of food. But Lil Bro turns away, completely shutting him out. Lion tempts him with a warm, fresh loaf of bread, and though the kid's stomach growls loudly, his stubborn pride keeps him from accepting. Recognizing the deep hurt, the young master decides to give him space and patiently wait it out. As evening approaches, the other volunteers pack up and leave the courtyard. Meanwhile, the exhausted kid drifts off to sleep, letting his guard down on the grass. Waking up under the impression that everyone has gone, Peter grumbles about hypocritical volunteers, only to startle in shock when he realizes Lion is still sitting right there. Lion casually offers the fresh bread once again, but the stubborn kid refuses to yield, turning his head away with a cold hemph. With a sly smirk, our boy decides to switch tactics, tearing the warm loaf in half and stuffing his own face right in front of the startled child. Seeing his food disappear, the kid panics, snatches the bread, and takes a bite. The flavor instantly blows him away, and he eagerly devours the rest of the loaf. Lion hands over his own share of the bread, leaving Peter utterly bewildered at why such a simple meal tastes so incredibly good. Deep down, the scarred child remembers every broken promise. Left behind by adoptive parents who only wanted a doll, he learned to treat all kindness as a lie. Yet the sheer warmth of the bread finally forces him to eat through his tears. Instead of pushing, the young master gently explains that skipping meals out of anger only hurts oneself. He wanted someone to truly enjoy this food, a simple truth that strikes straight through the boy's defensive walls. Completely overwhelmed by the simple act of genuine care, the stubborn kid bursts into tears. Blushing with embarrassment, he looks down and mutters a quiet thank you to his unexpected savior. With a bright smile, Lion offers a pinky promise to return with even more food next time. Though the boy is stunned by such a vow, he steps forward to accept. Assuring the kid that he has never once broken a promise, our boy locks fingers with him, cementing a bond the young orphan never thought he would share again. As our boy playfully ruffles the kid's hair, the orphanage director watches in absolute disbelief. It has been ages since she last saw a genuine smile grace the young orphan's face. Feeling a deep pang of regret for neglecting the children under the excuse of a busy schedule, the director watches the pair walk hand in hand, silently wishing blessings upon the young noble. As evening paints the sky, the director urges them to stay just a bit longer to receive a special blessing from the visiting priest. Hearing this, Lion's companion realizes their secret strategy has succeeded perfectly. Gratefully accepting the invitation, they head inside, just as a fast-approaching carriage speeds toward the estate. A mysterious man with glasses looks out the window, marking the arrival of the priest. Inside the quiet parlor, the young noble Lion Asteri gets a warning from his younger brother to avoid the temple priest, but instead of arguing, our boy happily agrees and runs off to do some baking, leaving his brother completely dumbfounded. Determined to secure a divine prayer for his supposedly frail brother, the young master prepares to meet the guest alone. Stepping through the door is Rit, a senior priest who immediately identifies him as their anonymous benefactor. Sensing this young priest is far from ordinary, the young noble plays his cards carefully. He diverts the praise, claiming it was his elder brother who truly cared and organized the food charity for the orphans. With desperate sincerity, the younger brother confesses his true motive, begging for help to cure his brother's serious illness. But the priest drops a bombshell. He has also come here in secret, bypassing the temple's strict surveillance. As tension fills the room, the hard-to-read priest adjusts his glasses before delivering his terms. He demands that the young noble return with his brother in 3 days' time for a direct evaluation. 3 days later, at the crack of dawn, the younger brother bursts into the laboratory, frantic to find his siblings still awake. He delivers the urgent news. The priest is ready to examine his condition. Lion realizes his mana shock issues are already cured, but a free checkup from a high-ranking priest is too good to pass up. He accepts the offer, only to be thrown off when he hears the meeting is set for dawn. Sneaking a glance at the table, our boy spots high-grade holy water, realizing this mysterious priest possesses massive hidden value. But playtime is over as the formal introductions begin. Cutting straight to the point, the young master questions why they had to meet at dawn. The priest drops a chilling explanation, claiming a prophetic dream of the brothers guided him straight to this encounter. While describing a dream of them surrounded by sleeping children, the priest is secretly analyzing his targets. He quickly deduces the younger sibling is a powerful mage, suspecting the duo might belong to the legendary Asteri family. Fearing these mages might be trying to extract temple secrets, the priest decides to test the older brother directly. The younger general steps out of the room, leaving the defenseless noble alone to face the priest's upcoming examination. The priest unleashes his divine energy, channeling a massive blessing directly into the young noble, but confusion instantly sets in as the mana enters the body, only to trigger absolutely zero reaction or physical change. As the holy energy harmlessly dissipates, The priest stands frozen in utter disbelief. Desperate to keep his secrets safe, our boy quickly puts on an act, claiming he feels much better and trying to end the treatment. The priest's mind races through the only three possibilities for this failure. Either a higher-ranked mage is actively blocking him, the boy is already perfectly healthy, or the tragic noble is cursed with an extremely short, doomed lifespan. Believing the young master is facing a fatal diagnosis, the priest's suspicion melts into deep sympathy. He steps forward, grabbing the young noble's hands and offering his full alliance whenever the boy needs help. Desperate to save a dying noble, the priest passionately promises to help him whenever the pain becomes unbearable. Our boy can only awkwardly agree, completely playing along with the tragic misunderstanding. As the priest finally takes his leave, he offers a final prayer for the boy's life. But instead of feeling relieved, our boy is left scratching his head, deeply uneasy about the web of lies he just spun. Back at Astery Castle, the brothers return from their dawn outing. While our boy realizes the priest's holy blessing actually cured his minor baking aches, he notices Lil Bro is looking absolutely exhausted with massive dark circles under his eyes. Despite staying up all night, the young general immediately heads off for intense mana training. Our boy warns him not to push himself too hard, but the determined sibling refuses to slow down. Just then, a maid approaches, warning that the successor lessons are wearing the young general out. She suggests bringing it up with the family head, giving our boy the perfect excuse to visit him with some freshly baked sweets. Down in the estate's kitchen, our boy Lion is busy rolling out dough to whip up some treats for his grandfather. But he makes a major blunder, calling the maid Sylvia instead of her actual name, Elbia. Determined to make something the family head will actually enjoy, the young master suddenly pauses and grabs a strange ingredient. Elbia watches in complete disbelief as he prepares to throw sweet potato into the mix. It is a bizarre combination, but our boy works with absolute precision, slicing sweet potatoes and bananas to layer them over the dough. With cute cookie molds selected, his experimental baking project is ready for the heat. The cookies go straight into the oven, and the result is a massive success. Not only do they look perfect, but a system screen reveals these special cookies decrease fatigue just like a high-tier potion. Elbia praises the young master's skills, prompting them to do a quick taste test. One bite of his own creation sends Lion into pure bliss, surpassing any chocolate chip cookie from his past life. With his cooking level successfully rising to apprentice level 3, our boy thanks Elbia for her guidance. She assumes they are done and offers to clean up, but Lion is just getting started. Though Elbia urges him to rest, the young master reveals he has more to make. The grind never stops, and he is ready to take things to the next level. Back at the counter, Lion secretly browses his newly unlocked recipes to avoid raising Elbia's suspicions. Sifting through his magical ingredient inventory, he pulls up the recipe for a training aid potion to brew a powerful supporting beverage. With his sweet potato cookies ready, our boy pivots to his next target, brewing a training support drink. Checking the newly unlocked recipe, the young master gathers fresh oranges and lemons to get the cooking process started. Lion wastes no time, slicing the fruit before simmering a low-grade health potion over a gentle flame. After adding root star anise, he strains the steaming liquid and tops it off with a drop of aqua rosemary oil. The result is a perfect training beverage that tastes exactly like warm mulled wine. Combining the drink with his cookies, our boy completes his very first set meal, instantly unlocking a special achievement along with a cool 3,000 shillings. Shedding his apron, the little general carries the tray straight toward the head of the Fawn family. He knocks on the door, ready to put his culinary masterpiece to the ultimate test. Stepping inside the office, Lion finds his grandfather looking as stern as ever. The old man is immediately baffled as to why the young master is carrying his own tray, instead of ordering the servants to do it. Lion places the tray down, explaining he made the cookies and the training potion himself. The family head can barely believe his ears, staring at the perfectly baked treats and the steaming red beverage. With a skeptical look, the old man picks up a cookie and takes a bite. The flavor instantly explodes in his mouth, delivering a perfectly controlled sweetness of sweet potato and banana that leaves him completely shocked. As his grandfather enjoys the snack, Lion's cooking proficiency hits apprentice level 4. But the old man isn't easily fooled, demanding to know the real reason behind this sudden delivery. Dropping the act, Lion brings up his upcoming ceremony. He asks if they can let Rixel rest comfortably until then, arguing that his current training schedule is far too brutal for him to handle. The family head is quietly moved by Lion's request. Expecting a ruthless battle for succession, the old man is incredibly proud to see the brothers getting along so well. Agreeing to ease up on the training, the grandfather asks if that's really all he wants, leaving the young master completely dumbfounded. See, in this empire, coming-of-age gifts are the ultimate show of power. Since Lion claims he needs nothing, the old man misinterprets it as a test, assuming he has to find something truly legendary. Sensing the overwhelming, terrifying aura radiating from the old man, our boy quickly makes his escape. Left alone, the grandfather starts sweating, determined to prepare the absolute best gift possible. Lion strides down the hall, heading straight toward his younger brother's study. Inside, Rixel sits buried under a mountain of paperwork, completely overwhelmed by his duties. Our boy bursts through the door, catching the young successor completely off guard. Seeing the chaotic mess, Lion teases him, while Rixel blushes in deep embarrassment at his untidy room. To ease the tension, the Frail master presents a tray of homemade treats. The overworked Heir takes a bite, his eyes widening in pure shock at how delicious they are. Deeply impressed, the younger brother praises Lion's craftsmanship. Seizing the moment, our protagonist reveals he secured their grandfather's permission for Rixel to take a break before the upcoming coming-of-age ceremony. Rixel is deeply touched by his brother's rare concern. But when Lion jokingly guesses the stress might be from a secret love letter, the mood instantly shifts to awkward confusion. In reality, the concern stems from the impending family ritual, known as the Labyrinth of the Library. While the trial normally adapts to a mage's level, Rixel fears for Lion's safety since he still possesses 0 mana. However, Rixel quickly clarifies that the real danger lies in the ceremonial attire. He slams down the official design prepared by the head of the house, leaving Lion utterly horrified. The drawing reveals an absolute fashion disaster of neon colors and ridiculous wings. It turns out the legendary archmage has 0 sense of aesthetics, and the brothers panic at the thought of wearing it. Determined to save their reputation, the former office worker vows to stop this ceremonial nightmare by any means necessary. Later, Lion heads out to the forest, where he is warmly welcomed by the local children. Lion hands out cookies to the village kids before asking the local woman for a favor. He needs an introduction to the highly skilled tailor they met during their orphanage volunteer work. Our boy recalls the tailor's legendary craftsmanship, altering clothes in seconds, but the woman looks hesitant, warning him he will only understand the catch once he gets there. Deep in the woods, Lion arrives at a desolate, run-down shack with a creaking wooden sign. He begins to question if he even has the right address. Stepping inside, he finds a dark hallway packed with creepy mannequins. Suddenly, a terrifying figure looms from the shadows, only to instantly transform into a hyperactive eccentric. The tailor immediately recognizes Lion despite his lack of disguise. Dropping the act, our protagonist explains his noble identity and the secret reasons behind his visit. Hearing that the elite Astery family is seeking his tailoring skills, the craftsman is completely stunned. He quickly ushers the young master deeper into his workshop to speak in private. Inside, Lion notices prestigious imperial awards gathering dust. Despite the tailor's humble apologies for the shabby room and cheap tea, the atmosphere remains warm. Seizing the chance to win him over, our boy presents his homemade bear cookies. Remembering the legendary bread from the orphanage, the designer eagerly takes a bite. Immediately, an explosion of flavor hits his senses, unleashing a bizarre romantic fantasy of a prince falling in love. The taste is unlike anything he has ever experienced. Overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the culinary masterpiece, the tailor completely loses his mind. Tears streaming down his face, he screams that this is no longer food, but pure art. Wiping away his tears, the eccentric tailor is completely won over by the culinary masterpiece. The sheer inspiration from the treat makes him promise to speak honestly with the young master about his craft. But a major obstacle stands in their way. The master tailor warns that if high society discovers he designed the outfit, the young heir will face immediate humiliation at the coming-of-age ceremony. The designer reveals his forbidden status as an illegitimate noble child. This social taboo bred rumors that destroyed his business, forcing his former elite clients to cut ties to protect their own reputations. Refusing to back down, the young master demands to inspect his work. The moment the tailor pulls back the curtain, a system display reveals that even basic commoner garments possess legendary-grade stats. Looking around the tailor shop, Lion realizes his gaming system allows him to see the exact ratings of every piece of clothing. Even with basic cotton, this tailor's craftsmanship is flawless. Our boy realizes he has stumbled upon a hidden gem. If he provides high-quality materials to a craftsman this skilled, the results will be legendary. Lion makes a direct demand, declaring that Andre will design his outfits for the coming-of-age ceremony. The tailor is horrified, warning the young master that using an outcast designer will only bring public humiliation. But the young master is not backing down, ordering the craftsman to embrace his ambition while promising to take full responsibility for the fallout. Fired up by the offer, Andre enthusiastically accepts. Lion lays out a list of contradictory demands, asking for designs that are neat yet flashy, unified yet completely different. The tailor panics when he realizes the head of the house will also wear his work. But Lion confidently reminds him that nobody in the empire dares to disrespect House Asteri. With all doubts cast aside, the passionate tailor grabs his pen and vows to pour his entire soul into creating the greatest garments of his life. To get started, our boy presents a legendary fabric catalog passed down through the Asteri family, causing the tailor's jaw to hit the floor. As the book opens, it reveals mythical materials like elf's hair and fairy's breath. The tailor is practically drooling at the sight of these legendary fabrics. But amid the treasures, Andre stops at a specific fabric once used by a certain young lady, though the catalog lists no information about it. Lion takes a closer look, and the system window reveals the truth. The material is a 3-star worsted yarn called a great mage's affection, crafted specifically for the mage's own daughter. Recognizing the legendary yarn was crafted by his grandfather for the family, Lion orders Andre to use it for their ceremony gear. The tailor eagerly accepts the challenge, but their planning is cut short by a sudden knock. Outside the shop, a massive, noisy caravan is pulling up, disrupting the quiet street. It is Lion's younger brother arriving with an entire fleet of supply wagons packed with premium tailoring tools and gear to support the ceremony. Lion wonders if the craftsman prefers his old tools, but Andre throws away his pride, demanding to swap out his entire inventory for this high-grade gear. Inside the newly stocked shop, the tailor swears to deliver an absolute masterpiece, though Lion warns him not to overwork himself. Then, Lion drops a bombshell, asking to learn the art of sewing. Andre instantly panics, warning him of bloody finger pricks and brutal machine accidents. But the young master explains he wants to understand the creator's struggle to truly respect the work. Moved to tears, the craftsman agrees to teach him everything. While the tailor measures his brother, Lion uses the opportunity to scout the workshop, searching for low-tier items to test his system's capabilities. He picks up a pair of basic cotton pants, realizing the tailor's insane skill turns even garbage materials into high-tier clothing. Deciding to test his limits, our boy opts for hand sewing to practice the basics. He breaks out the master's repair set, a high-tier magic shop freebie capable of fixing master rank gear. The magical tool immediately proves its worth, automatically threading itself and leaving the young master completely stunned by its efficiency. As the hours pass, the rhythm of the needle calms his mind. Guided by his system's visual pathing, his speed increases until the pants reach 80% completion. Examining his work, Lion is satisfied with the decent results, but a sudden round of applause breaks his concentration. Andre stands behind him, absolutely moved by the display. Examining the stitches, the master tailor confirms that while the lines are slightly crooked, the raw skill is undeniable. The young master's dedication sparks a flame in the craftsman, sending him into a creative frenzy as he begins designing the custom gear. With the tailor lost in his work, Lion decides it is time to wrap up, but the piece is short-lived. Lil Bro delivers a tense warning. Tonight, the heir must face a high-stakes dinner with the head of the house. Back at the mansion, the butler delivers the news. The young masters have finally arrived for dinner, prompting the powerful Marquis to set aside his paperwork and head down to the dining room. Walking through the grand hallway, the old man vents his frustration. Even 50 years after the Demon War, the imperial court still works him to the bone, keeping him away from his beloved grandsons. As the head of the house enters the dining room, he is greeted by his two grandsons. Looking at the smiling Lion, the Marquis remains determined to hide the boy's true magic potential from the world. Seeing the massive feast laid out before them, our boy Lion is stunned. It turns out Rixel made a special request to the chef, wanting to celebrate this rare family gathering. Lion recalls their lonely past. While he was stuck eating patient mint meals in bed and their grandfather dined at the palace, Rixel was left to eat all his meals in complete isolation. Determined to change things, Lion decides they need to eat together more often. For the sake of his brother, he vows to request more family dinners from the head of the house. With everyone seated, the Marquis officially starts the meal. But the quiet atmosphere of the dining room is quickly broken when the old man shifts the conversation to business. The Marquis questions Rixel about an entrusted task. While Rixel assures him that everything is under control, Lion quietly dines, keeping a low profile at the family table. Seeing his grandfather treat Rixel's upcoming adulthood ceremony like a mere business transaction, Lion decides to break the suffocating silence. He can't let this rare family gathering end in cold distance. Our boy throws a conversational hand grenade, asking the Marquis if he ever wove custom fabric for their late mother. The question shocks the room, forcing the old man to dodge the subject while Lion presses on, bringing Rixel into the discussion. Lion recounts his encounter with the old tailor, connecting the mysterious sparkling fabric found in the family estate back to their mother. He's intentionally dragging the family's most avoided taboo into the light. Though talking about their mother is a painful wound, the young master knows they can't heal by ignoring the past. Using the matching outfits as an excuse, he fights to rebuild their fractured bond. The gamble pays off when the Marquis finally breaks, admitting he personally crafted the legendary fabric. The confession leaves both grandsons stunned, prompting Lion to push for the truth behind the creation. It turns out the fearsome Marquis was simply a worried father. He chose the finest magical wool and infused each strand with protective magic to shield his only daughter from any harm. Hearing that the protective fabric still survives brings a rare moment of vulnerability to the old mage. Realizing his grief has kept his grandsons isolated, the Marquis begins to soften. Lion seizes the opening, suggesting that they all wear the custom clothes together. The Marquis is caught completely off guard, but Rixel quickly backs his brother up, suggesting they summon the tailor directly to the mansion. Defeated by his grandson's tag team tactics, the Marquis relents and gives Lion full control. With the ice finally melted and the family talking, our protagonist can finally focus on preparing for the upcoming ceremony. With the family united, preparations for the upcoming ceremony shift into high gear. The tailor arrives to take measurements, servants deck out the mansion, and the family spares no expense to support their young master's big day. Since his grandfather and brother are handling the heavy lifting, our boy is left with plenty of free time. Lion decides to utilize the break to grind a new skill, locking himself away to master the art of hand sewing. But after hours of meticulous needlework, the expected system notifications never show up. Lion finishes a perfectly stitched shirt, yet his status window remains completely silent, sparking a sudden wave of panic. The realization hits our boy like a truck. If his system isn't unlocking a sewing talent, he might actually be lacking the basic affinity for the craft, leaving the former gamer completely clueless about what went wrong. Before he can spiral any further, a maid interrupts his crisis to deliver urgent news. The legendary tailor has returned to the mansion, but the servant warns Lion that the craftsman's behavior is highly unusual. She ominously reports that the old tailor looks as if something has gone terribly wrong. A dark shadow looms over the mansion as the long-awaited ceremony preparations face a sudden, unexpected threat. Lion enters the drawing room expecting a major emergency, but stops dead in his tracks the moment he pushes the door open. Instead of a crisis, he finds a spectacular, fully stocked boutique. The master tailor greets him eagerly, ready to show off his latest creation. Our boy tries on the custom white suit, and the system immediately registers it as a rare 3-star masterpiece. But despite the high quality, something is off. The craftsman looks deeply troubled, warning the young master that the garment is not ready for the banquet because a vital piece is missing. The young master quickly spots the flaw. His collar is completely bare. There is no necktie, cravat, or accent to bring the outfit together. He immediately starts planning accessories for the others, matching his grandfather's classic taste and choosing a youthful style for Rixel. Before he can finish, Andre drops a shocking request, desperately begging the young master to finalize the family's formal wear himself. The young master protests, feeling it is disrespectful to touch a professional's work, but the tailor's nervous expression hints at a deeper motive. Andre explains that Lion's mother once thanked him, helping the family patriarch realize that clothes made for loved ones hold a powerful emotional meaning. He insists that only the heir can put the finishing touches on these garments, adding a sentimental value that no outsider could ever weave. Recognizing the weight of the tailor's request, the young master agrees to take on the challenge. With the design board prepped, our boy gets straight to work to plan the perfect formal wear accessories. He starts drafting immediately, sketching out a cravat to emphasize his grandfather's status and a youthful bow tie for Rixel. This is a tactical play to make it clear that Rixel is the true successor. When asked about his own accessory, the young master decides to put himself last. He wants the primary family members sorted out before even thinking about his own look. The master tailor breaks down the anatomy of a necktie, using sword terminology to explain the blade shapes. Hearing this, our boy warns him never to use those terms in front of the Duke. To avoid unnecessary bulk, they skip interfacing, relying instead on high-grade silkworm silk that holds its shape under an iron. With the plan finalized, they immediately begin crafting. But passion doesn't instantly equal mastery. The system brutally evaluates his first necktie as a flawed piece, warning that the young master's raw skill falls way short of the premium materials. Next up is embroidery, and our boy decides to stitch their family symbol onto the fabric. He designs a leaf connected to a branch, representing a family that stays forever linked. Andre warns him that the texture must look natural and refined. Realizing there is no shortcut to mastering this craft, the young master asks for 3 days to get the job done. Over the next few days, the workshop becomes a battleground. Our boy sews like a man possessed, pricking his fingers raw only for the system to constantly rate his creations as utterly ordinary. Even with a magic mending set available, he refuses the shortcut, determined to earn the skill himself. Despite the shoulder pain and bloody fingers, the struggle slowly starts to pay off. Our boy refuses to quit, pushing past the pain until a blinding flash of light signals a major breakthrough. The system finally recognizes his raw effort, unlocking the tailor talent and granting him apprentice level 1 proficiency. Speeding up his pace, the young master slices through fabric and irons with perfect precision, rapidly leveling his new skill. But as he pauses, he begins to realize the hidden trigger behind awakening these production talents. He recalls how his blacksmithing and cooking skills only awakened when he absolutely needed a specific tool or ingredient. It all clicks. Desperation and genuine necessity are the true keys to unlocking these system cheats. Grabbing his tools, our boy crafts without holding back, bypassing the automated mending set to rely entirely on his own hands. The result is a stunning, high-grade necktie boosted by the legendary master's touch. Channeling his focus, he embroiders the golden leaf emblem directly onto the silk, elevating the accessory into a 3-star masterpiece. He carefully drapes it over his grandfather's formal wear, ready to complete the look. Combining both high-tier creations triggers a massive synergy bonus, upgrading the entire ensemble into a legendary 4-star masterpiece. With this ultimate set secured, the family is ready to dominate the upcoming banquet. Lion succeeds in triggering a rare item evolution, crafting his first 4-star masterpiece. The masterfully tailored suit sparkles as the system registers the successful synergy effect. Our boy notices the suit grants powerful defensive options, including physical and magical impact immunity. To maximize his rewards, he immediately sets out to finish the remaining outfits. Working with careful precision, he cuts the fabric and designs a tailored bow tie. The effort successfully completes the second piece, bringing him closer to his tailoring milestone. With only his own outfit left, the young Horde General contemplates how to stand out. He decides to create a unique stick tie to avoid matching his relatives. He quickly sketches out the concept and searches through his grandfather's old jewelry box, hunting for a high-quality gem to serve as the centerpiece. Choosing a brilliant purple teardrop jewel that perfectly mirrors his family's eyes, he secures it onto the fabric to complete the custom neckwear. The completion of this difficult set triggers a massive coin reward, granting him thousands of shillings and finally unlocking the long-awaited shilling shop. His celebration is cut short when Rixel slams the door open, radiating anger. He confronts the young master for neglecting his health before the big ceremony. Ignoring his protests, Rixel orders him to rest while a maid carries the kicking young master away, preventing him from browsing the newly unlocked shop. On the day of the coming-of-age ceremony, the little general steps out in his custom suit. His refined appearance immediately draws praise from the household staff. The household maid watches in awe as our boy stands fully dressed, reflecting on how fast the once sickly young master has grown to reach his coming-of-age ceremony. Rixel catches up in the corridor to accompany his brother. Sporting his own custom suit, he prepares to stand by the little general's side as they head toward the main hall. The grand doors swing open to reveal a banquet room more lavish than an imperial feast, dazzling the gathered nobility with its sheer scale. Amidst the flowing wine, guests trade sharp whispers, questioning the rumors surrounding Marquess Patrick and his eldest son. The herald announces the arrival of the Asteri family. Marquess Patrick and Rixel lead the way, followed immediately by the main star himself, looking remarkably polished. But the vultures in the crowd are quick to talk trash. They mock the young master behind their fans, whispering that no fancy clothes can hide his status as a manaless cripple. Recognizing the hostile crowd, the old patriarch warns his grandson to stay away from the scheming nobles. But Lil Bro just smiles, promising to represent the family name without shame. Stepping up to the podium, our boy addresses the gathered nobles with complete poise, catching Rixel off guard with his surprisingly dignified and trustworthy demeanor. The tide turns instantly as the guests notice the masterpiece suit. They marvel at its unique design, realizing the simple yet splendid fabric elevates his presence far beyond ordinary nobles. The old man realizes the kid used his brain to outmaneuver the haters. Rixel can only watch in disbelief, wondering if his brother had this entire social play calculated from the start. With the crowd completely captivated by his tailored drip, the young general flashes a bright smile, finishing his speech and officially kicking off the party. Rixel rushes over to praise his brother's masterful speech, completely oblivious that our boy's rhetorical skills are actually the hardened survival tactics of a past-life Korean office worker. Even the old patriarch can't hide his pride, praising the kid's poise in front of a hostile crowd despite having zero mana or aura to his name. As the banquet begins, the patriarch shifts the focus to a crucial trial, questioning what item the young master plans to carry into the upcoming rite of the labyrinth. Lil Bro knows the stakes. While mages bring grimoires or staves to gain offensive spells, his lack of magical talent makes the outcome of this ritual a complete wild card. Faced with this high-stakes decision, our boy puts down S-glass and confidently announces he will rely on his own crafted potion to face the labyrinth. At the family table, the patriarch questions his eldest grandson about his plans for the upcoming labyrinth. Lacking magical talent, our boy decides to bring a custom-made potion as his offering. Since he has no magical prowess, Lion knows he must rely on his unique crafting skills to get by. His grandfather nods, approving of his logical approach to the trial. But the patriarch isn't done. He drops a heavy question, asking if Lion has designs on the family successor position. Our boy panics, instantly waving his hands to shut that idea down. Declaring that his younger brother Rixel is the rightful heir, Lion seals the deal. The patriarch immediately demands a blood oath from Rixel to protect his sibling at all costs. With the dreaded succession battle resolved in mere seconds, the old man can finally relax. The major crisis threatening to tear the Asteri household apart is officially dead. Even with domestic peace secured, outside forces loom. The imperial family is currently locked in their own chaotic power struggle, meaning they won't pose a threat for now. The real wild card is the savage Bidentis family, recently unified by a brutal successor who slaughtered her own kin. They must be avoided at all costs. Pleased with Lion's desire for a quiet life, the grandfather gives him permission to live as he pleases. But the freedom comes with a chilling warning. If anyone dares to harm the young master, the patriarch promises total annihilation. Terrified by his grandfather's monstrous aura, Lion quickly vows to play it safe. Later, at a grand nobility banquet, the patriarch and Rixel work the room, playing the political game. Meanwhile, our boy stands back, enjoying his comfortable role. But the lazy life won't last forever. As Lion prepares to blend into the background, a new encounter is about to force his hand. Lion's custom suit immediately steals the spotlight, drawing in eager nobles begging for his designer's name. As the crowd swells, our boy realizes his system's high-tier item effects are working far too well. He warns the crowd that the tailor is an outcast, shunned by high society for selling to commoners. But instead of turning away, the nobles whisper about the royal succession, recognizing the political target on the creator's back. Under the guise of a casual introduction, Lion drops the tailor's name, Andri, revealing the man operates safely within Asteri territory. This is a masterstroke, aligning a brilliant craftsman directly under his family's shield. The crowd gasps at the revelation, and the young master turns up the pressure by declaring only 3 reservation slots remain. The artificial scarcity instantly drives the nobles into a desperate panic. The frenzy halts instantly as a cold presence cuts through the ballroom. Clarantia Bidentis, the ruthless head of the savage swordsman clan, steps forward, freezing the entire room in sheer terror. Lion asks what kind of attire she needs. The fearsome warrior explains she requires simple training gear, instantly causing the surrounding nobles to shudder in fear at her sheer presence. Her terrifying aura flares as she looks down with cold crimson eyes, sending the entire crowd into a complete state of panic. Within seconds, the ballroom empties, leaving the duo standing completely isolated. While others see a bloodthirsty monster, Lion sees something far more valuable. A high-profile client who doesn't care about society's petty rules. Refusing to let rumors dictate his business, our boy switches to full salesman mode, locking in the deal with the terrifying swordmaster. She agrees to the terms and quietly departs, leaving him victorious. With the ice broken, the remaining slots fill up instantly, leaving Lion with a massive ledger of orders. But before he can celebrate, a maid delivers the news. The family labyrinth trial is officially ready. Standing before the massive trial doors, the young master's peace is cut short by the arrival of the imperial princes, Terrace and Kyle. Terrace immediately throws a jab, mockingly praising the magic family's heir for looking so calm. Our boy knows the prince is just trying to needle him over his lack of mana. But before the provocation can land, Lil Bro Rixel steps in, locking eyes with Terrace in a silent high-tension standoff that completely shuts the prince up. Realizing he can't break their front, the first prince retreats. Rixel hands over the custom potion bag, urging his brother to stay safe. With his gear secured, Lion turns back to the trial, ready to face whatever lies beyond. Looking at the massive gate, Lion remembers his childhood, spent hiding in the family archives, seeking refuge from his lack of talent. Now, to unlock the path to the first patriarch's hidden treasure, he receives the ceremonial key. With a quick slice to his finger, our boy lets his blood drip onto the activation seal. A blinding magic circle erupts beneath his feet, unleashing a violent shockwave that shakes the entire hall and sends the onlookers into a panic. As the ancient doors swing open, a powerful vortex of mana wraps around Lion, pulling him directly into the unknown. The trial has officially begun. Deep within the estate lies the ancient library labyrinth. It is a sacred zone that immediately transforms into an inescapable, deadly dungeon the moment anyone dares to damage it. Suddenly, violent tremors tear through the mansion, catching the guests and nobles completely off guard as the entire structure begins to warp and collapse around them. Before anyone can move, a pitch-black vortex erupts from the ground, pulling the young master straight into the rift while Rixel and the Marquis look on in pure horror. Plunging through the dark void, our boy doesn't perish. Instead, system alerts flash as he secures a rare achievement, permanently boosting his stats and constructing a high-purity mana circle. Back at the banquet, absolute chaos erupts. Terrified screams fill the hall as glass shatters and heavy debris rains down on the panicked crowd of nobles. Just as a massive chandelier threatens to crush the fleeing crowd, a powerful magic barrier flashes to life, absorbing the impact and keeping the survivors unharmed. Holding the magical defense line, the old patriarch orders his knights to guide the survivors, refusing to lower his guard while the library runs completely berserk. Though the royal princes are confirmed safe under quick protection magic, the threat is far from over as the labyrinth's volatile energy continues to destabilize the estate. The family head commands Rixel to take charge of the injured and secure the guests, preparing to face the mouth of the berserk labyrinth entirely alone. Rixel desperately tries to protest the dangerous mission, but the old man shuts him down instantly, demanding that he step up and act as the next head of the house. Even the royal princes step in to warn that the labyrinth's current state is completely unpredictable, but the legendary mage has absolutely no intention of backing down. Rixel has no choice but to retreat. Backed by the royal princes, the young heir reluctantly steps away from the collapsing hall, his mind consumed with worry for his missing brother. With the guests evacuating, the Marquis stands alone before the shifting ruins. He knows the labyrinth's current instability is off the charts, and any mistake now could prove fatal. But he isn't completely alone. The head of the Bedentis house steps forward, refusing to flee the collapsing estate and offering her assistance to the stunned patriarch. Her reason? She simply doesn't want her custom clothing order with our boy disrupted. Satisfied with her bizarre excuse, she retreats to wait nearby while the real work begins. The Marquis wastes no time. He orders his shadow maid, Elbia, to seal the perimeter with a massive barrier. Activating his pocket watch relic, he begins manipulating the space to force open an exit for his grandson. Meanwhile, far from the chaos, our boy is relaxing in a peaceful flower field. Safe from the collapsing mansion, he enjoys the calm breeze, completely unaware of the panic outside. but the piece is cut short. A system alert reveals he has officially cleared the labyrinth of books, leaving the young master utterly baffled about how he pulled it off. In the original game, clearing this zone required a simple prompt selection, but this reality is different, prompting Lil Bro to analyze what triggered the sudden completion. Since his current mana is practically non-existent, the answer must lie in his soul. The labyrinth isn't responding to Lion Asteri, but to the player who now inhabits his body. Connecting the dots, he remembers the legendary hero who fought alongside his grandfather and vanished decades ago. If this hidden treasure belongs to that savior, then it's nothing less than his own endgame starter gear. His legendary starter gear is finally within reach. Lion Asteri pieces together the clues. If the treasure enshrined here belonged to his game's main character, the system might have recognized it as a retrieved item. But he cannot stay trapped in this illusion forever. With only one circle of mana, brute forcing a high-level illusion is out of the question. Our boy has to tackle this problem physically, but as he steps through the field, something catches his attention. System descriptions show these rare white, yellow, and purple flowers cannot grow together naturally. This entire meadow is a carefully constructed puzzle, meaning a key out of here must be hidden right under his nose. The little master searches for the anomaly, and there it is, a spot where all three incompatible flowers are grouped. If he wants to bypass this trap, he needs to see the hidden magic binding it. Closing his eyes, Lion focuses inward to locate his mana circle. Once identified, he channels the energy directly into his eyes, forcing his perception to breach the illusion's boundary. Activating his enhanced vision reveals a deadly web of mana threads. A single wrong step will trigger a lethal spell. Navigating the field with extreme caution, he searches for the core. Suddenly, his boots trigger a prompt. The source of the illusion's mana threads is right here, buried beneath the soil, but to break it, he needs the right tool to sever the flow. Lion opens the shilling shop, finding the survival tab unlocked. He spots bizarre items like an emergency escape chair and an old key that can unlock concepts. It is a gamble, but it is his only option. Lion scrolls through the shilling shop, searching for a cheap tactical workaround. The system prompts a budget filter, allowing him to sort the inventory. The magic detector is out of his price range, but a pair of sharp scissors, discounted to just under 10,000 shillings, can snip through any soulless construct. With a quick tap, he finalizes the purchase, spending his hard-earned savings. A set of permanently bound scissors materializes in his hands. Time is running out. Our boy pulls out his gathering tool, putting his daily grinding experience to the test as he starts digging for the source of the illusion. A sudden warning flashes. He has less than a minute before his enhanced vision expires. He digs frantically until his tool strikes a solid metal surface. With his time running out, the young master digs furiously, reaching deep into the dirt until he finally grabs hold of a solid reward chest from the game. With only seconds left, Lion uses the scissors to snip the glowing mana threads, wrapping the chest. The illusion shatters, leaving the treasure free. He claims the mysterious treasure, but the system locks the details. Instead, a prompt flashes, forcing him into an unskippable story mode memory. Before he can process the system's warning, the meadow fades away, dragging his consciousness directly into an unskippable past memory. The illusion of the meadow vanishes, replaced by a grand palace hall. Lion finds himself watching a meeting of noblemen from the past. The nobles scramble for damage control, reporting that they've successfully covered up the recent magical disturbance by blaming it on a sudden earthquake. But while they've managed to keep the princes and other families silent, their real worry is keeping the truth hidden from the temple and the underworld. Both factions possess massive intelligence networks that could easily expose the incident, threatening to reveal that Lion holds a unique, hidden power. And they aren't wrong to worry, because our boy actually shares a direct, mysterious connection to the legendary hero. Inside the family mansion, Lion's younger brother carefully inspects a letter. confirming the handwriting belongs to his older sibling. The family patriarch demands to know what is written, but the shocking update leaves the young boy completely frozen. Meanwhile, back inside the labyrinth, Lion's eyes snap open as the game system forces him into story mode. He wakes up sitting in a void, watching a locked memory play out right before his eyes. The projection reveals a crucial meeting where his grandfather receives a mysterious chest. But the audio is heavily distorted, and our boy scrambles in frustration, unable to identify the shadowy hero due to his own lazy character customization. Just as the secret is about to drop, the system violently kicks him out of the simulation. Back on the cold stone floor of the library, the frail young master is left cursing his luck after gaining almost zero useful intel. But the trip wasn't a total waste. Inside the chest lies a legendary set of ability-blocking accessories designed to hide all user stats from the world. In the game, this was the ultimate gear for securing extra experience points. Our boy immediately equips the bracelet, thrilled to have the perfect cover to hide his awakened mana. With his status now fully private, he decides to inspect his current mana circle. The system displays a massive golden glyph that leaves him speechless. While normal mages must train for years to expand their capacity, the lazy young master's basic one-circle mana pool is somehow larger than a mansion. Brushing off the mystery, Lion accepts the massive power boost, but reality quickly sets in as he looks around the ruined archives. He is still hopelessly lost inside the deep labyrinth. As he steps forward, a warning screen flashes, stating that access to the archives is restricted. But the system immediately updates, registering Lion Asteri as the new owner of the labyrinth, completely ruining his plans for a quiet, laid-back life. With the entrance completely wrecked, the young master panics, envisioning his grandfather's explosive fury. But as the newly registered owner, he realizes he can use his administrative authority to restore the entire archives to their original state. A full reset would destroy his newly acquired loot, forcing him to choose a manual rebuild instead. But the system drops a bombshell. The restoration will take a staggering 672 hours, locking him inside for a whole month. Trapped inside the facility, he searches for a way to contact the outside world. Fortunately, the system reveals an active checkout desk, allowing Lion to send a quick warning letter to his grandfather and Rixel so they don't panic. With a definitive command, the restoration protocol initiates. As magic circles glow and shelves reconstruct themselves, Lion is teleported to the absolute limit of the labyrinth, starting his month-long survival test. Exploring his new temporary home, our boy stumbles upon a massive, shimmering lake hidden within the ruins. He immediately jumps in to cool off, relieved to find a peaceful zone free of hostile monsters. The system breaks down the lake's ecology, unlocking a special fishing subquest for the library owner. While common fish are abundant, the system warns him that only a single legendary rare-grade creature inhabits these waters. Luckily, the young master had previously stocked up on fishing gear from the shilling shop. He sets up camp on the grassy bank, prepared to spend his month in relative comfort. Casting his line, he catches basic carp and minnows, securing a steady food supply so he won't starve during his isolation. But the peaceful afternoon ends in an instant when a massive force drags his bobber straight under. The fishing rod bends violently, and Lion struggles to hold on as he realizes he has hooked something monstrous. Our boy grits his teeth, fighting the massive tension on his rod. With a final, desperate heave, he pulls his prize out of the water, successfully securing a 2-star labyrinth carp.